Coming up, we, of course, will talk plenty more about this at halftime. Right now, it's time for the second half of our doubleheader from Sacramento. Jim Durham.
And here at Arco Arena in Sacramento, a quick start by the Kings. They've got a 7-point lead right now, but they went up to a 10-point lead to start out.
Last play looked like they had a sure score from B.Miller on the exchange with Weber, and he thought he got pushed. They got nothing, and Jason Williams, who's been aggressive offensively, came out and knocked down a three.
That's Doug Christie again. 4 points for Christie.
But the styles of play at the offensive end are really key to both teams, and it's the passing and cutting the ball movement that really gets both teams the kinds of scores that they want. You're going to get more layups out of the half-court offense from the Kings than you will from the Memphis Grizzlies as we take a look at the shooting percentages, and right now it's all Sacramento.
Pau Gasol has returned to the lineup. Lorenzen Wright is out for Memphis. Gasol went out with an injured finger momentarily, but now he's back with 7 to shoot. Pau Gasol lowers the shoulders, strong to the hoop, and finishes lefty. First 2 points for Gasol.
And Gasol is a player that Hubie feels can carry this team, but he's got to have that dominant attitude every single game out. And there are some games he starts well, some games he finishes well, and in between he's missing in action.
He was literally missing in action midway through this first quarter. 3 try by Stojakovic. Peja with 2 3-point hits to start out the scoring for him tonight.
And this is a guy that is having his poorest shooting season in the last 4 years. He led the NBA in 3-point shooting in the 30s right now.
Bonzi Wells under the gun, and a 3-try miss by Jason Williams, but Gasol recovers. Nice feed on the dive cut to Stromiles Swift, but it's thrown away.
Well, turnovers will hurt you every time, and that's what Memphis is doing. They're trying to force the play, and it's almost a 3-point play for Stojakovic, but it's that kind of passing and cutting that has made Sacramento the team that's so tough here at Arco.
Peja Stojakovic will get to the free throw line. Peja with 6 points, those 2 field goals, both from 3-point country.
But he's a player that doesn't need much room to get the shot away, and he's able to get some early confidence, which means that he's going to be looking at the rim the entire ball game. So now they've got a job to shut him down and make him a nervous offensive player, and it's not going to happen tonight.
7 points for Stojakovic. Earl Watson has checked in for Memphis, number 25, replacing Jason Williams.
Jason Williams was trying to do it at the offensive end, and Watson will try to come in and give him some defensive energy. Stojakovic with 8 in the quarter.
And back to a 12-point lead for Sacramento. 4:25 left opening quarter here at Arco Arena. 17,317. Another sellout crowd tonight. Gasol fouled in the post. Memphis Grizzlies, even when they were Vancouver Grizzlies, didn't fare very well here at Arco. They've lost the last 12, and they've lost 17 out of 18. Stromiles Swift connecting.
Maybe they should change their name when they come in here. Be another Bear of sorts.
Well, they tried to change, they changed the cities, and that didn't work. So you may be onto something there. Jones also in the lineup for Memphis, number 30.
Now with Sacramento, a 10-point deficit is not a lot. They allow their opponents to get back in games because their strength is at the offensive end. Rick Adelman told us that they're going to have to be really efficient offensively because they're not as good defensively this year as they've been in other years, and no one ever thought that they were a great defensive club.
Although they've had good defensive field goal percentage the last couple of years.
Well,
especially the year before last.
No, they felt that they've been a good defensive club, but it's the opponents that have always felt, well, you can always score against the Kings.
Jones picks it up. Now Gasol rolls around Miller. Some move by Pau Gasol. And the Grizz are back to within 8. 3:45 for the quarter. Miller hands to Bibby. Bibby up the gut, sets up Miller. Brad Miller left open, and he has his first 2.
And the way that they play is inside out, and they make those exchanges, and the players move to the spots knowing somebody's going to give them a pass. That time it was Bibby to Miller when it looked like he had a chance for a layup.
22nd timeout taken with 3:29 left in the quarter. A 10-point lead for the Kings. The Kings, who are 4-4 altogether, coming in tonight after their 3 straight wins. And Memphis has improved to 3-5 as they have won 3 of their last 4. Their lone defeat was the loss at Seattle in a game in which they pretty much had control of it, and it slipped away from them.
Well, Brad Miller is happy to be a King, and Brad Miller knows where to go when he wants an open shot here as a Sacramento King.
Introducing Mercury Montego, a dependable ride for the undependable forecast. Introducing Mercury Montego, a dependable ride for the undependable forecast.
For the first time ever, get holiday cheer so big, comedy so huge,
Buddy.
and bonus features so ginormous,
That's ridiculous.
it will make your head spin. Put Elf on your shelf today.
Go, go!
You can use incredible power-up moves to stake your claim as king of the court in new Mario Power Tennis, only for Nintendo GameCube. Rated E.
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast. Brought to you by Mercury and your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. Walt Disney Pictures National Treasure, now playing in theaters everywhere. New Pepsi Holiday Spice, here just for the holidays. And Sales, the Diamond Store.
And welcome back to Arco Arena in Sacramento. You're looking at Dick Bavetta, longtime NBA official. As the Kings lead it by 10. Dick Bavetta has always a lot to say about a variety of subjects. Listen to this.
Want a marker for you? Yeah. Right here, everything? Yeah. Okay. I got a ballpoint pen. Hi, how are you? Hey, how are you? Marked it, left it at the table. All right. Hey, I didn't see you here. Are you over there? You're all over the place. Gentlemen, health and happiness to you and your families, as always, most importantly. And with Thanksgiving come up, you all have a lot to be thankful for. God bless you and your families. Benny, anything you want to add? Matt, have a great game tonight. Stay healthy, guys. Thank you.
Benny Adams and Matt Boland round out the officiating crew tonight. You know, you really feel for the officials who worked that Detroit-Indiana game tonight, having to sort through the ending of that one. And they couldn't finish the game as they had that fight spill over into the stands with the Pacers players going into the crowd.
They needed a greeting like Dick gave these guys here in order for them to be in a more giving mood. That rivalry really heats up. Mike Miller drops in a 3.
His first points of the game in Memphis after trailing by 12, now within 7. Bobby Jackson in the game for Sacramento, number 24. Sangaila also out there And off the ball, Bavetta with a call.
Well, the Kings have now gone to their bench, and Rick Adelman trying to mix and match a little bit so he doesn't get all of his bench out there. Bibby, Stojakovic, Songaila, Weber, and Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson with a pass into Weber, knocked away. Now with 7 to shoot, the Kings to throw in. Bobby Jackson finds Stojakovic. Peja shoots on Miller. And the loose ball rebound saved by Brian Cardinal, ahead to Miller. Watson attacking, turned away, but it's slammed in by Stromile Swift.
So Hubie Brown adjusts his lineup, and it pays for him, and they're within 5 as they're pressured the ball, and the shots have become a little bit tougher for the Sacramento Kings.
Bibby pressured by Watson. And as Bibby made the drive, a foul called on Watson. Watson picking up the foul, his first.
Brian Cardinal, they got him for this specific reason, to clean up and find a way to make hustle plays, and he does, and cleaning up on that miss, Stromile Swift.
Bench, Memphis, 7 points off the bench. It's pretty much an even split. I mean, UB plays pretty much, he starts 5 guys, and then he comes off with 5. And, you know, even when you look at their minutes played, not much of a difference between the starting 5 and the guys coming off the bench.
Well, but the guys that come off the bench have a little bit more defensive attitude, and that's why they've been put in the game. Watson is better on the ball than Jason Williams. He will get after who's ever dribbling the ball. Dante Jones is better going down the floor than Bonzi Wells. So these guys have come in with the idea that we've got to slow the Kings down. Jackson gets a pair of free throws. And to this point, a little bit of success. They're back in the ball game.
And Pau Gasol leads the team in minutes played, but doesn't even average 30 minutes a game. That's Earl Watson on the basket. And Memphis continues to surge back in. They've hit 8 of their last 9. And it was certainly a grisly start for Memphis. And they hit 1 of their first 9 tonight.
See, I see you're not in favor of them changing the name because of Grizzly. Weber for 2.
You can use it in so many ways, if you know what I mean. It was certainly a grisly development as it opened tonight. But Memphis, even though they turn it over here, they're getting back in it. 1:30 for the quarter. Bibby. You know what? He's becoming the go-to guy. When they've got to have it, Bibby's the guy who can make the play for him.
Well, he's the guy that is going to be able to deliver. He can get his own shot. He can make plays for other teammates, and he's showing you that he's going to be more aggressive and assertive this season. That could be good news for the Sacramento Kings.
Exactly. Stromile Swift. Stromile Swift with his second field goal, make it his 3rd field goal. 6 points for Stromile. And the Kings lead is 7 as Bobby Jackson brings it up.
I want to see you make something out of Swift and how quickly he's moving out of here as he's got 6 quick points, my friend.
You're doing a pretty good job with that yourself. Weber missing from the perimeter. Miller to the rebound. And then a foul called on Songaila as he tried to poke it away from Watson. Darius Songaila picking up the personal foul. Looking for a place to get all the latest fantasy basketball news? Well, you can by watching NBA TV Fantasy Hoops every night at 1 a.m. Eastern on NBA TV, for the only show on TV dedicated to fantasy basketball. 29-22 Kings. Stromile Swift with a nifty pass into Cardinal, and Brian Cardinal has his first 2.
So Swift has come in the ball game and had an impact, rebounding the ball, scoring the ball, passing the ball. Dante Jones picks up a foul, but that is what Hubie Brown wants. He wants his guys to go down the floor, slow the ball down, get into them, give them a chance to get back and get set up. Jackson will go back to the line.
First foul on Dante Jones. Bobby Jackson really struggling from the field this year. You know, he's coming back off his injury last year that ended his season. He had a muscle strain, an abdominal muscle strain, that cost him the last few games of the regular season as well as their playoff series. And his three-point shooting is way off. 2 for 23. Very unlike Bobby Jackson.
Well, he's pressing. You know, sometimes when you have offensive success, you want to prove to everyone that you're that kind of player. He's not just a flat-out shooter. When he came in the league, he was a guy that couldn't shoot a lick, and he made himself a good perimeter player.
Oh, a nice move by Watson. He has a chance at a three-point play.
And Bobby Jackson also came in the league as a guy that could stop people, and Watson drove around him like he wasn't there as he made that little move. Bobby Jackson did not move his feet, and Watson has a chance for a three-point play. But also, you'd like to see your interior guys react as well and shut down that lane, but the Grizzlies get a three-point play out of it.
And they've hit 11 of their last 12 from the field as Memphis has rallied back in it. Weber, yep, and a foul. Weber's got 9 points in the quarter.
You know what they tell you in elementary and high school and in college? First line of defense, stop the ball. If you don't stop the ball, bad things happen. They haven't learned it yet. I think they
even at this level. I mean, even the Memphis pros knew that, right? Songaila tips in, Weber's miss. And from midcourt, Cardinals shot way off. So the Memphis Grizzlies rally back into the game after falling behind by 12. But on a follow-up on a free throw miss, Sacramento now has reestablished an 8-point lead after one in what looks like it could be a good old Western Conference shootout tonight.
Yeah.
Get the camera.
The 5-megapixel CyberShot T1 from Sony. The great little camera with a great big screen. CyberShot from Sony, like no other. Click to learn about Sony's family of CyberShot cameras.
Introducing Mercury Montego, a dependable ride for the undependable forecast.
In the 70s, he was the coolest guy alive. Now, hey, he's back.
You just yanking my chain?
I didn't even know you had a chain.
In the biggest comedy event
thank you.
of the holiday season.
What's that on your head?
Yeah, it's my hat.
Why don't you take it off?
I have no face.
Fat Albert.
I'm looking for Mr. Cosby.
This film is not yet rated this Christmas, only in theaters.
And I'm just cruising through with my buddies. We're just talking. All of a sudden, I see a new Celica GTS just flying by, and we went through traffic, and I just jumped in. It's impulse, you know, like cat and mouse. You see it, you just chase after it.
When you're on the road and you get that feeling, if someone comes up behind you, if someone smokes you, you know you're gonna go after it. That's the whole cat and mouse thing. It's just like nature. It's survival of the fittest. You're either the hunter or the hunted.
Rated E for everyone.
EA Games.
Someone has a love letter.
It's true. With NBA League Pass, you get up to 40 games a week. Yes, you can be a Kings fan in Philly and still watch them play. You think this year's rookies will be as good as last year? Do you want to follow your favorite fantasy players? Then NBA League Pass will make you a happier man.
Order NBA League Pass now for just $189. To order, call DirecTV, Dish Network, or your local cable provider.
Sacramento with an 8-point lead after one quarter, 35-27 over Memphis. Jim Durham with Steve Jones. Glad to have you with us tonight from Arco Arena here in Sacramento. Well, you know, UB Brown likes to do the mass substitution. That's really what's gotten him back into the game.
He had to go to his bench because the starters weren't producing, and these guys came in, gave him the defensive pressure, and tried to cool off the Kings, who are busting it at 65%.
And Memphis opens with possession here in the second quarter. The Grizzlies have outscored the Kings by 10 from the bench. Bonzi Wells against Christie. And that's a tough shot. Miller got a piece of it. Songaila maybe too. Bobby Jackson with a lob ahead to Miller. You know what? He wasn't quite ready for it.
But again, they're beating they're beating Memphis back down the floor, and that is one of Memphis's strengths, transition defense, and they've got to be able to get back and cover the passer and the bucket. Watson right at the rim.
Watson over Miller. Watson with 7 points. He averages 8.3. Mike Bibby went to the locker room during the quarter break. He's just now returning to the Sacramento bench.
Well, Watson is having his way with Bobby Jackson, and that is unusual in terms of Jackson and his defensive attitude.
Songaila takes up slack, and a foul called as he got to the rim.
They're now invoking, as Bibby comes in and settles down, he says he's all right and ready to go back in, the no layup rule. There will be no layups without someone being touched.
It was Lorenzen Wright called for the foul as Songaila makes the free throw. 3 points for him. Songaila now 11 for 13 on the season from the line. A 4-point game working. Back to an 8-point lead for the Kings.
Well, Songaila was kind of an unknown commodity a year ago, but this year the Kings are counting on him heavily to play a lot of minutes and deliver both defensively and offensively. So let's see how he rolls here in this first appearance.
Battier gives it up. Watson with a fake. Now lost the handle. Stojakovic the steal. Numbers for Sacramento, and Christie finishes it off. Doug Christie with 6. Back to a 10-point lead for the Kings.
Did we say that the Kings were not a good defensive team? They're forcing turnovers left and right here in the first 14 minutes of play, and they have been a team that is forcing to take away and forcing to break.
Bonzi Wells. The rebound to Brad Miller. 2 minutes having been played here in the second quarter. There's a look at the turnover situation. And Bobby Jackson bags a 3. He needed that one. Remember, he came in 2 for 23 from 3 on the season. Sacramento now with its biggest lead. UB Brown taking time. That's 7 straight points for the Kings. Timeout Memphis with 9:47 left in the half.
The one thing that Sacramento is trying to impress on Memphis is they're going to try to take the early transition opportunity. They're going to make them pay to get back. And if they don't get back, Sacramento's looking to score cheap and easy. So they're putting a lot of pressure on the starters, and their defensive attitude has been superb.
Your family tree just got a whole lot bigger. Now that Singular has joined forces with AT&T Wireless to bring you the largest calling community in America. Talk to any Singular or AT&T Wireless customer for free.
Hey, what's going on?
All 46 million of them. Add a member of your family tree to ours for just $9.99 a line. The new Singular, raising the bar.
What should you know about Dodge Durango? Compared to the Ford Explorer, it's 11 inches longer, creating a larger interior. Has a 5-star frontal crash test rating. Explorer doesn't. And offers a more powerful V8 than Explorer. Basically, the Durango leaves you only one way to describe the Ford Explorer. Trade in. Get 0% financing, a great package discount, and bonus cash for total savings of up to $57.50 on Durango SLT.
G35 with the most powerful V6 in its class and a sport-tuned suspension. The feeling stays with you. The G35 from Infiniti.
Welcome back to our studio in New York. We'll get you out to the game in just a moment. But in case you missed it earlier, and we described it on ESPN News, a major brawl breaks out at the end of the game between the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons. 45 seconds left. Ron Artest commits a foul against Ben Wallace. Now, Ben Wallace goes right after Artest. None of us here thought that that was that much of a foul. It certainly did not warrant that comeback. But don't blame everything that happened on Ben Wallace, because cooler heads were about to prevail, and then the fans got involved. And once the fans got involved, the players started going to the stands.
So you've alluded to how despicable they were. Ron Artest is laying on the scorer's table when somebody throws a bottle or a can or a cup of beer, something. I don't know what it looked like, but it was beer that hit that man. And ultimately, that led to him going into the stands, and Jackson would ultimately go into the stands, and ultimately they were escorted off the court through the tunnel. And as they were walking through the tunnel, you had fans in Detroit, the coward ones, the cowardly ones, the despicable ones, literally pouring and throwing beer on these players. It's going to be real interesting to see how the league is going to handle this situation.
All right, we will talk more at halftime and hear from Greg and Tim as well. Right now, let's rejoin Jim Durham. Jim.
All right, John, thanks a lot. And here at Arco Arena, a 13-point lead for Sacramento against Memphis. Bonzi Wells leaves it for Wright. Lorenzen Wright heard from for the first time in the game offensively.
Well, it has been the bench that got Memphis back in the ball game. They are 8 for 8, and the starters are now 6 of 17 from the field. So the starters have got to pick up their offensive energy. Stojakovic is working on his own. 8 on the clock.
Songaila off the reverse move. Darius Songaila with 6. The most he has scored in a game this year is 10. We've played about 3 minutes here in the second quarter. Watson. Cardinal trying to dump it off in a crowd deflected, but to Wright. Cleared by Christie. Stojakovic. Yep, and a foul.
Tremendous push by Doug Christie, and that's what's allowed them to get this early score. They're trying to run after everything.
NBA TV Saturday, Orlando and Indiana tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. It'll be interesting to see how many players the Pacers are able to field for that game. ESPN Wednesday, Pistons and Cavs. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock Eastern. Thanksgiving night on TNT, a doubleheader, the Timberwolves and Pacers, followed by the Nets and the Clippers. Coverage starts at 8 o'clock Eastern. Stojakovic has 11 as he converts the three-point play into a 16-point Sacramento lead, its biggest.
The Pacers have a bigger problem than the Pistons. Both teams are going to lose some players, but how many players are on the injured list for the Indiana Pacers, and can they meet the required 8? The Pistons, on the other hand, have a lot of live bodies, and they're going to drop some players as well.
That foul was on Christie. First team foul on Sacramento in the second quarter. Pau Gasol at the foul line for Memphis. 5 points for Gasol. Matt Barnes comes into the game for Sacramento, replacing Stojakovic.
Well, they got Stojakovic, Weber, Bibby all off to tremendous starts and have a 15-point lead. So Adelman has a chance to give them a good rest here as they get ready to finish up the first half of play. Gasol with the pair.
Memphis 3 of 3 from the line after the 2 free throws made by Gasol. Sacramento a big free throw edge here in this first half. And Barnes' pass deflected by Battier. With 13 to shoot, the Kings will throw in.
Now, this will be the test right here. Bobby Jackson and Brad Miller have to carry the scoring for the Sacramento Kings. So these guys have got to be good and on the mark, or they're going to allow.
Oh, wow. Bobby Jackson out of the corner. I think behind the backboard. Well, all this poor shooting we were talking about with Bobby Jackson, forget that. Pau Gasol dumps a pass underneath, but a foul called beforehand. It's on Songaila.
Who is we? You were out there on that island by yourself.
Hey, the statistics said so.
You get one more look at Bobby Jackson on the exchange, fading. It looks like he's behind the board, but he wasn't.
Pau Gasol, shot clock at 7. And on a reach-in, a foul call. Things getting physical down in the post.
But the difference in the two offenses right now is the ability of Sacramento to pass and cut with freer movement. And the Memphis Grizzlies are trying to do it one-on-one. They're running into a stacked defense. There's 3 and 4 Kings there to knock the ball away, deflect it. They're having a tough time scoring the ball. Turn that one over.
And Memphis turned it over. They had it long enough until they turned it over. They had some opportunities that time. 7 turnovers for the Grizzlies. Bobby Jackson. Christie. Christie against Wells, and the shot clock at 10. Out of bounds, so turnover is fair play.
Not a good angle for Christie. He was working real hard to try to get that angle, but didn't move over quite far enough. Let Miller right out of bounds.
Points off turnovers. Sacramento has 10 off the Kings' 7 turnovers. Over the top to Pau Gasol. He's surrounded, still somehow gets the shot away and draws the foul. Songaila has his 3rd. That's the 4th team foul on Sacramento. And Pau Gasol back to the line.
Kings fans don't like the call, but they never like a call here. But one thing Gasol has learned over the years, you learn how to grunt. When you get in the crowd, oh, and eventually you grunt loud enough, you get a call.
I didn't realize that's how that happened. Can we hear that again?
Twice.
You're right.
These are the little tricks of the trade that you learn, you know. You're going to get to the free throw line. It's not going to be because they hear slap. They're going to hear yelling before they hear slap.
Sacramento, after having the early lead trimmed back, have now reestablished. They've been up by as many as 16. Bobby Jackson unable to connect there. Pau Gasol to the rebound.
Weber comes back in the game. Take a little bit of pressure off of the offensive load for Miller and Bobby Jackson.
Jason Williams back on for Memphis. He finds Gasol, who draws the foul off penetration.
Did you hear it? Whoa!
He's got it down. Matt Barnes is called for the foul. Sacramento is over the limit.
The best thing that's happening for Memphis right now, the clock is stopping. So the lead can shrink. They have more time to get back into the ball game.
First miss for Gasol after hitting 4 in a row. Pau Gasol with 8 points so far. Memphis in the 3rd game of a 4-game trip. They've got Golden State tomorrow.
And of the previous 2, this is their worst start. They had a terrific game against Seattle for 3 quarters. They dominated Portland. We're up by 34 going into the 4th. So they expected to play well, and it has been the Kings trying to remind them that you are in our place and your name is the Grizzlies.
Weber and cleared by Wright. About 6.5 for the first half here at Arco Arena.
And if the Grizzlies want to take heart in anything, is to get another foul, is when the Kings just stay a perimeter team and they don't make those shots, they give you a chance to get back in the game.
Brad Miller called for that foul that will put Bonzi Wells on the free throw line. From Arco Arena here in Sacramento, a sellout crowd looking on. I'm Jim Durham with Steve Jones. We're glad to have you with us for the second game of our doubleheader tonight on ESPN. Points off turnovers. Memphis just 4. Sacramento with 10.
And the strength of Memphis defense is forcing turnovers and getting into the break. Wells, who was terrific against his former team, Portland, with 25, is off to a slow start here, struggling to find that offensive rhythm he had just 2 nights ago.
That was his season high, the 25 against the Blazers, and Miller getting into the paint, and he draws the foul. I'll tell you what, there have been a number of fouls called in this quarter off penetration, off post play. It's almost as if, Stephen, and I know the officials probably aren't even aware of what took place tonight in Detroit with the fight breaking out late in the game, spilling over into the stands with the Pacers players. It's almost as if the officials here are just tightening it up.
Well, but they've been forced to tighten it up because the way the players have been playing. The players have been taking the ball into a lot of traffic, where earlier they were getting wide open opportunities. There wasn't a reason to have the whistle blown. Christie knocked that one down.
That's 8 points for Christie, and on the travel, Sacramento gets the ball back. Christie has 8 and his season best so far in the early going of the 2004-05 season is just 10 points, so he could have a season high tonight by halftime.
When defense is good, it's disruptive, and it's also good when they can see where the play is coming.
Bonzi Wells into the front court. Pau Gasol in the lane. They finally get the shot up by Stromile Swift, and a foul call and a timeout taken. Timeout in Sacramento with the Kings up by 14.
Fajitas. Ooh, fajita. Ah!
Ooh, fajitas. There's a whole new way to look at fajitas.
Ooh, fajitas.
The Fajita Grilled Stuffed Burrito from Taco Bell. Loaded with authentic carne asada steak and grilled fajita vegetables. All wrapped in a flour tortilla and grilled to go.
Ooh, fajitas.
For sizzling fajita taste, think outside the bun.
Get ready for a whole new kind of Dodge. Introducing the all-new Magnum. First you see stunning performance. Another look reveals surprising versatility. Open it up and you'll find a tri-fold cargo floor. Bold styling that features a unique access liftgate. Even a powerful Boston Acoustics CD sound system, which makes the all-new Dodge Magnum a whole different ride. Now get $1,000 November bonus cash on one of America's hottest products, the all-new Dodge Magnum.
To prove Aspen Edge has more taste than Michelob Ultra, we asked beer drinkers for their thoughts. Okay, guys, take a small sip and... Okay, you missed a drop there.
Beer drinkers agree. Aspen Edge has more taste than Michelob Ultra.
From Philips comes the only flat TV with built-in ambient light technology, which changes color with whatever you're watching. So you are completely surrounded by the experience. A new Philips flat TV with Ambilight.
It's your chance to make an NBA fantasy pick. Is it LeBron James or Yao Ming? What about Tim Duncan? Fantasy NBA is your chance to play the ultimate NBA fantasy game. Play in a league with fans from around the world, or create your very own with friends and coworkers. This is the NBA fantasy game for you. Join now. Show off your basketball knowledge and make the right pick. Go to NBA.com/fantasy to sign up. It's Fantasy NBA.
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
Welcome back to Sacramento, and the Kings enjoying a 14-point lead. 5:51 left in the half. Peja Stojakovic, the leading scorer for the Kings. Last year, he averaged over 24 points a game. This year so far, 19.3. You see his field goal percentage is down somewhat, and his three-point percentage is way down.
But the best thing about players that post numbers like that, they eventually come back to what they are really noted for. Stojakovic is sticking it tonight, and that's more of the Stojakovic that the league and the opponents have come to know.
Peja Stojakovic, who was rumored to be headed to various places, most prominently perhaps to Chicago during the offseason.
If he was unhappy in the offseason, he would have been very unhappy had he gone to Chicago.
That's what I'm thinking. Pau Gasol.
It's one thing to lose your best friend in Vlade Divac, and he's the glue, and I love playing here. And it's another thing to go into a volcano. You don't know what is going to erupt next. Long pass.
Weber to Jackson if he can get there. Bobby Jackson saves. Miller doubled up. Christie lines up a three. Mike Miller with the rebound. 5 minutes for the half. Miller.
That's what Mike Miller can do. He's very good at a catch-and-shoot situation. Hasn't had a million chances to put it up. It's only his second shot and made both of them tonight 10-point games.
Yep, after trailing by 16. Weber. Rebounded by Miller. Jason Williams fires for three. Gasol is up with a rebound. Stromile Swift.
That was a big chance for Memphis to get this lead under double digits, and had three cracks at it, came away with nothing. Kings starting to look a little slow with the passing and the ball movement now. Maybe the pace of the game starting to get to him.
Offensive foul on C. Webb, and that's number 3.
Weber gets this foul quite a bit, where he starts one way, then he comes back, and that arm comes out, and they call it a hook against him.
And Greg Ostertag is coming into the game for Weber. Stojakovic has already checked in for Barnes. There's Ostertag.
The pace of this game and the style of play is one that Ostertag has to adjust to. He's been used to a team that plays a lot of half court, a lot of screens, not quite the same kind of motion and receiving the ball. So he's got an adjustment to make. Certainly, you can't.
Pau Gasol with 9 on the clock. He's guarded by Miller. Now it's Mike Miller with a dump off to Gasol. Tip jam, Stromile Swift.
And I was just going to finish the thought about Ostertag, and you can't really downplay how difficult it is for a player who's played in one place so long to come to another style of play and immediately be successful.
Memphis has scored 10 of the last 12. 3.5 for the half. Ostertag had it swatted away by Swift. Big run out here for Memphis. And now, because the ball was loose, Sacramento able to cover defensively. Big possession for the Grizzlies. A super find, and Pau Gasol fouled underneath. He shoots 2.
The Memphis Grizzlies sharing the basketball and doing some damage. A miss inside, but Stromile Swift coming off the bench to give them a big effort. It's been terrific bench play from Memphis has gotten them back in the game.
The timeout comes with 3:11 left in the half. That foul was on Ostertag. Ostertag with his first personal foul. A 10-2 run by Memphis to cut the 16-point deficit to 8.
I want you to steal me that diamond.
I'm not a criminal.
Right.
Critics can't resist After the Sunset. It's filled with suspense and adventure, raves the LA Times.
Cute little rod. I'm just here to look.
Jeffrey Lyons calls it a highly entertaining movie. And Joel Siegel of Good Morning America declares it's a you'll never guess jewel heist caper that's everything it sets out to be.
But it's not who you think it is.
I don't like those twist endings.
Into the Sunset. Directed by Brett Ratner. Rated PG-13. Now playing.
Out of gas?
Yeah. Dodge Grand Caravan. The only minivan with stow and go. Another minivan first from Dodge.
Daddy just had to get a motorcycle, didn't he?
Funny, huh? Now get 0% financing plus November bonus cash for total savings of up to $5,500 on Caravan, one of America's hottest products.
Oh, I thought I had more time. Okay, yeah, I can make it.
Pay 10 bills in under 3 minutes online. Free with our free checking from Bank of America. Higher standards.
It all starts with a chip that contains world-leading technology, together with Samsung's superior engineering and design. It does so much more. It inspires. It enriches. It's the soul of Samsung, and it's in everything we create. Experience the power within. Samsung.
Welcome back to New York, and coming up on the Toyota Halftime Show, we will talk about the fight, the brawl, the most ridiculous thing that we have ever seen in watching the NBA between the Pacers and the Pistons.
We'll be talking about some despicable fans in Detroit acting like a bunch of cowards, instigating the incident by throwing beer on Ron Artest. It really comes down to that.
It was shocking and embarrassing, you know, for everybody involved. Everybody's going to have to take some of the responsibility, but the league needs to address how they're going to deal with fans. This is just, you know, there's no way you're supposed to have this kind of thing going on.
You know, anybody that's going to try to pass judgment on Ron Artest, you better reserve judgment, really, to see what's going on here. But, you know, no athlete should be subjected to any object being thrown at him or any physical contact from a fan. And you certainly shouldn't have to deal with fans being on the court. That's a threatening situation. Ron Artest is expected to defend himself.
Those people who want to look at this video and blame the players, I'll tell you what, wait until halftime, reserve your judgment, because remember, there are 12 players on an NBA team on that bench, and there were about 20,000 fans in the stands. We'll have that in the Toyota Halftime Show. Jim.
All right, John, an extremely unfortunate incident in Detroit here tonight. Sacramento with an 8-point lead on Memphis after leading by 16. Now Gasol had hit his first 4 free throws tonight, and since then 1 for 3.
Question for you, my friend. Those two teams meet on Christmas Day. Will the Indiana Pacers or the Pistons have enough players?
By then, perhaps. Now Memphis within 7.
And it's been a while since they have been that close, and see how the Kings finished the last 3 minutes of play. Early in the ball game, they had great ball movement, great player movement. The shots were easy. They're fighting the shot clock right now.
Dick Pavetta's got a foul called on Mike Miller.
Peach Buzz Miller is saying,
on him.
You can't call that. He put that ball right into me. And Miller has to go out of the ball game. That's one of the reasons he has not had much of a chance to have an impact. Shane Battier back in.
2:50 for the half. Quiet crowd at Arco right now. Christie draws the foul off penetration and gets to the free throw line. Let's hear what Dick Pavetta has to say.
Straight ahead, just go straight ahead, straight ahead, straight ahead, straight ahead, straight.
And still, he gets no respect.
That foul, by the way, that was called on Stromiles Swift. His first. Now both teams are over the limit. Christie knocks down both free throws, so he has equaled his season high here in the first half. 10 points.
Christie had that painful plantar fascia.
Fasciitis?
Yeah, he had that problem all last season, had a very difficult procedure, but he's ready to play.
Dante Jones for 3. And now Memphis is within 6. The Grizzlies just keep coming. Foul called on Jones on the perimeter that will get Christie back to the line.
So Dante Jones, who's really trying to pressure and cover, picks up another quick foul. He's going to have to sit down Bonzi Wells, who does not defend down the floor nearly as well, and will come back in the game. Christie at the line.
That's 3 fouls on Dante Jones. Christie with 11. Dante Jones out with his 3 fouls as Bonzi Wells returns.
But Memphis has accomplished much in this second quarter by clawing their way back into the game, making it an 8-point game. And they don't want to give it back in the final 2 minutes and see it go back to 12 to 13 points.
Pau Gasol against Brad Miller. Jason Williams on a 3 attempt. And it's tipped in by Gasol. Pau Gasol, he grunts even when he's not fouled, Snapper.
No. He grunts to get another point. They didn't give it to him that time.
A blocking foul is called. That'll get Bibby to the free throw line. Gasol picks up the personal. UB Brown doesn't like that one. So Mike Bibby to the line. Bibby hasn't been there tonight. 76% of the season.
My guy was clearly in front of him. That's what Hubie was saying.
Okay.
We don't have wired sound now.
Bibby makes good on both. He's got 8. Closing it down here in the first half. Jason Williams draws the foul, and he heads to the free throw line.
One thing the guards have been able to do, maybe Jason Williams takes a page from Earl Watson, but they have been challenging the guards of the Kings. At the point of attack, they've decided that they can get by him, create penetration, get to the rim. He goes to the line.
As the foul was the second whistled against Greg Ostertag. Jason Williams with 6 points in the ball game. And has handed out 2 assists.
He has been a more dependable point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies than he ever was for the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, his assist to turnover ratio the last couple of years have been tremendous. Miller fouled by Swift. And over the last 4 or 5 minutes here in the first half, it's basically been a parade to the free throw line at each end.
Well, it's been contact, but, you know, it's been because the players have been challenging, and Miller knows he's got to go quick. He's got a wide open lane, and Swift is a terrific leaper. Thought he met him at the summit, but Miller will get 2.
And that's 2 fouls on Stromile Swift. Brad Miller averaging about 16.5 on the season. At 3 points so far tonight, and Sacramento is now 17 for 18 from the free throw line. 18 for 19. Back to an 8-point lead for the Kings. 1:30 left. Jason Williams works away from double team pressure, but lost it out of bounds.
That ball was deflected, and Williams could not get back to it in time, so the 22nd timeout for the Sacramento Kings.
Rick Adelman taking the 20. And Sacramento on top, 59-51. We'll be back.
When you're looking for that one perfect gift for that one special person, it helps to know the people who know diamonds. With a stunning selection to choose from, you know that you'll find just the perfect one for her. Zales, the diamond store.
Back in Sacramento, as you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, and their strong play off the bench has gotten them back into this game.
Well, the Grizzlies get off to a bad start, and everyone is wondering, well, do the Grizzlies still buy into the 10-man theory, and are the guys on the bench going to continue to accept the minutes and the play? But since they have won 3 out of their last 4, certainly they're all contributing, and this is the way they got to 50 wins a year ago. So there's no bowing out of the Hubie Brown system yet.
There's a look at the bench scoring. Bibby with a pass inside to Ostertag, deflected. The Kings down to 10 on the shot clock. Bibby offers the 3. Ostertag the rebound. And as he came out with it, a foul on Memphis. It's on Battier.
Shane Battier in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Greg Ostertag just fell into him. But Ostertag is one of those players that has brilliant moments, and then he has a lot of indifferent moments, and you're never sure which tag is going to show up. And so far, it's been indifferent for Greg Ostertag, and he's hoping he can pay off with some free throws right now.
He's only scored 2 points for him so far in the season, as he's on the line for the first time in this season.
He was much maligned in Utah, but I think one of the things that really tells us who he is he gave his kidney to his sister, and you know, showing us that there's some other things that are more important than whether Greg Ostertag turns out to be a great basketball player.
Exactly right. A 9-point advantage for Sacramento now as we have hit the 1-minute mark for the half. Swift, Battier overshot the mark. Here comes Bibby on the run out. Stojakovic. Deja missed the point-blank layup.
Well, he had a little help from Jason Williams, who made him go a little bit further than he wanted. He thought he laid it up enough. Swift.
Oh, Stromile Swift left no doubt. He's as if to say, Peja, here's what you got to do.
Well, you got to be able to jump like that, too.
And just like that, Sacramento back on the board. 30 seconds for the half. Jason Williams, no. And offensive basket interference on Pau Gasol.
What the big guys are doing is they're making a decision quickly. When they have a chance to get to the rim, they're coming with some thunder. And Stromile Swift, little exclamation. Hey, go to T.O. school right there. I think he's trying to do that Eagle thing.
12 points for Stromile Swift, 5 out of 6. You might say Sacramento has been bench pressed in this first half.
Oh, you might.
By these Memphis Grizzlies, who out of the gate went down by 10, then trailed by 12 at 21-9. And the bench came in, got Memphis back in it. Then the Kings went up by 16. And Pau Gasol, an open floor block on the shot attempt by Stojakovic. And that went off the back of the rim from beyond midcourt. So the first half comes to an end. Jason Williams returning to Sacramento. And the Grizzlies got down early, but now they have rallied back in as they head for the locker room. They're only down by 9.
Today, treasure is a myth. I refuse to believe that. From the producer of Pirates of the Caribbean. Years in the making. National treasure. There's more to the riddle. Rated PG.
New Pepsi Holiday Spice is now on its way.
Whoops. Let's back her up, boy.
A blend of cola and spice. It'll be here just for the holidays.
Oh, the other way.
If it gets here at all.
Introducing New Edge Advanced. A refreshingly cool formula for an irresistibly cool shade.
Cool.
Mark, get the door. Isabella.
Marco.
This is my roommate, Frank.
Ciao, Francesco. Francesco.
New Edge Advanced. Refresh your shade.
I wanna rock and roll this party. I feel I have some fun.
Wrangler Jeans Company, a new generation of Wrangler. New fits, new fabrics, new styles.
For the first time ever, the pure beauty of film is brought to home theater. The exclusive Hitachi dual focus light engine delivers a brighter, more precise picture. Experience a perfectly integrated cinematic form that draws attention to a superior film-like image. The new Hitachi Ultravision Cineform Series LCD high-definition television. Original technologies, seamless integration. Only from Hitachi.
Hits another off.
Yes.
The other end, the Nuggets get out and run, and Mene
Come on.
makes a pass and slams it. Our feet are in the sand tonight. We're getting beat down the floor. Leonard had...
With up to 40 NBA games a week, news, stats, and highlights, NBA League Pass from DirecTV is heaven. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS today.
One historic rival.
Another right hand by Morales, and another left hook for Morales.
One victory apiece.
There is no pretense of defense in this game.
One chance to settle the score.
This is what it's all about. Pride, honor, revenge.
Morales Barrera 3, once and for all. Saturday, November 27th, live on DirecTV pay-per-view. Don't miss it on DirecTV pay-per-view channel 123.
Here comes Morales. Here comes Barrera.
Welcome to the Toyota Halftime Show.
Stephen A. Smith, Greg Anthony, Tim Legler, John Saunders here. A little action that you're expecting to see in a basketball arena, unlike what we saw in the first part of our doubleheader. And in case you missed it, we're going to show you everything again. It started with 45 seconds left. Now, at the end of the game, I called the Detroit fans a bunch of punks. After further review, I still think they are. Although not all the fans, but those that were involved in this, those that came onto the floor, guys, and it escalated when the fans get involved.
No, there's no question. And one thing that people don't understand, when you're involved in a rivalry like this, where the emotions are running at an all-time high, you have adrenaline flowing, and especially when fans are the ones who instigate these types of altercations, a player, in essence, is looking for an opportunity because they've dealt with so much ridicule from these fans, the racial slurs, I mean, throwing things, it's ridiculous. And then at that point, oftentimes you just lose control emotionally.
And you're going to hear people talk about players having to show restraint, this, that, and the other. You know, most people, the average person on the street, they wouldn't even show the kind of restraint that players do just listening to the heckling and abuse that you take in the course of the game as a professional athlete. But we understand that's part of the territory. We understand that kind of comes with it. But now when you cross the line and you physically throw an object or physically touch a player, all bets are off then. Players have a right to protect themselves, and nobody's going to show that kind of superhuman restraint. Any person would have done the same thing that Ron Artest did in that situation.
Well, we all absolutely understand that, and it's going to be real interesting to see how the league handles this. You know Bennett Wallace is going to get a couple of game suspension because he touched Ron Artest. You know Ron Artest is going to get suspended because he went into the stands. You know Steven Jackson is going to get suspended because he threw a punch. The question is, will those Indiana Pacers deserve to be suspended? That is the question right now. It's going to be real interesting to see how the league handles it and how the Players Association comes to the defense of their players, because I absolutely believe they will, and hopefully the NBA will do so as well.
Rick Carlisle actually said that he felt he was fighting for his life. And again, you point out that there's 12 players, there's a coaching staff of 4 or 5. There are guys that are out there protecting the team.
Sent a message through Dana Jameson, the NBA representative here, and as you see, all of this continuing, and it just continued to be real ugly, fellas. It was just a horrible scene here, quite frightening. And Ron Garretson said he called the game. There was just no reason to bring anybody else out here on the floor anymore. And he said the bench area is the bench area. And if you go by that, there are a few guys in the bench area, but there's going to be an awful lot of suspensions if they follow the letter of that. Mark Boyle, the play-by-play man for the Pacers. Look at this right here. This fan came onto the court, and then he gets hit even harder by Jermaine O'Neal a moment later. John, we could go through this. There's an awful lot of tape, but the information is the Pacers are on their plane. They're headed back to Indiana. No comment whatsoever at all from any of the Detroit Pistons. They all left with the exception of Larry Brown, who spoke to the media. John, back to you.
Jim, thanks a lot. You could see the fans had come onto the court. The NBA is really the only of the 4 professional sports. It's the only one where the fans can actually reach out and put their hands on a player. They're that coach. So people who watch this and want to blame the players, they don't know what they went through the entire game.
That's exactly right. You know, and Greg touched on this earlier. You know, players, you have so much pent-up frustration that you deal with over the course of your career, of the stuff that you listen to. It's always right there below the surface, but you always show restraint, never reacting to a fan. But there's an opportunity now. You see an opportunity to actually go in there, and it's somewhat justified. Players are going to take advantage of that opportunity.
No question. And also, keep in mind, again, players will be suspended. What I'm more interested to find out what will happen in terms of security and those fans who initiated this altercation, not just from a criminal standpoint, but how will the league deal with that moving forward?
Well, it'll be interesting, but I'm interested in the criminal element of it. I mean, I remember years ago when a fan was caught throwing a snowball at one of the coaches, I think it was Green Bay, at a New York Giants game. You know, you found out who that individual was, and you had criminal charges pressed against them. Make sure you can do that to those despicable fans that did that tonight.
They got a few jails they could fill up tonight on that. We'll continue with more from Times Square in the Toyota Halftime Show in a moment.
The Toyota Halftime Show is brought to you by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward.
What will you do now that the Toyota Tundra has more power?
Buy another snowmobile. I'm going to rip it.
Sacramento at the half. The Kings leading the Grizzlies by 9, 62-53. In the first half, as you see there, the starters for Sacramento outscored Memphis by 22, but the bench of the Grizzlies outscored the Kings by 13. Rebounds plus 10 for Memphis. Now you see Dick Bavetta. I'm Jim Durham with Steve Snapper Jones. Glad to have you with us tonight. Well, Snapper, you felt at halftime that the tempo of this game might change in the second half, because in the first half, it was basically a parade to one free throw line than the other.
In the second quarter, the pace of the game slowed down, but I think we're going to see a quicker pace. I think we'll see better ball movement from the Grizzlies and the Kings. If they remember how they got the lead, it was quick ball movement. It was transition offense, and if they continue to play that way, they will win this game. So, I mean, what they're trying to do is go 4-0 at home, which has been a tremendous place for them to play, and the Grizzlies trying to crack through. They've only won here once.
Ever. And lost 17 times, including the last 12. Bonzi Wells threw a pass into traffic, and it's knocked out of bounds to the Kings.
Tough pass by Wells. It was in traffic. It was going to be a tough catch for Lorenzen Wright. You know, sometimes ideas don't translate into anything but bad ideas, and there's one right there. Where was the cutter?
How about that? Pau Gasol and Stromile Swift lead the Grizzlies with 12. Doug Christie and Peja Stojakovic and Mike Bibby all in double figures for the Kings.
They desperately need to see this guy get going, and that one's blocked from the rear, and Wells thought he got fouled.
So far, 3 possessions. Neither team able to do anything with it. A turnover each way and a block shot. Bibby off the floater. Mike Bibby has 12.
Hubie Brown not happy because he was able to turn that corner. No one stepped in front of him, loft that baby in, and he's up, he's barking.
Williams guarded by Bibby. Pau Gasol against Miller. Pau Gasol has 14.
And Gasol trying to urge his teammates on, feeling that, you know, with just the right kind of spurt, they can get back in the ball game and get control of the scoreboard.
Last year, the 2 teams split the 4 games, but the games here were very competitive. Memphis blew out the Kings in the 2 games in Memphis.
Another bad pass. The ball was too low, but Williams
it's Keystone Cops out there. And a loose ball foul on Lorenzen Wright.
Did a great job of stepping in and busting up what was going to be a sure fast break score for the Kings, and they couldn't finish, and Lorenzen Wright ends up with his 4th personal out of that.
First team foul on Memphis.
So here in the second half will be the first team that can complete a pass.
Might be right.
That wins the game.
You might be right, my friend. Bibby working screen and roll with Miller. Finds Weber. Over Gasol. C. Webb. 11 points tonight.
Chris Webber, and a lot of people have talked about Webber and his ability and whether he's as good as he was. He may not be physically where he was, but mentally he's a much better player than he's ever been.
Bibby Brown taking a 20-second timeout. There you see the Kings huddle as they've opened up the 11-point lead. Chris Webber founded the Chris Webber Foundation for troubled youth in his hometown of Detroit. The foundation provides scholarships to students who strive to do their best in the classroom and also in the community.
Wouldn't that be terrible not to be able to read? You don't have to be a speed reader. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world right now when you're in school. But we can all work harder to be readers. Ain't that right, John?
That's true.
See, I'm the preacher and this is my choir up here.
Weber also donates a block of tickets called See Webb's Crew to every Kings home game for local schools and charities. And tonight's group is WIND Youth Shelter.
What you'd like to see from every player, every individual in life is to grow from their mistakes, and Weber is growing from his. Nice tip.
Yeah, nice tip indeed by Battier off the miss by Gasol. So it's back to a 9-point lead for Sacramento.
Hubie's trying to get his guys to, wake up, get in the ball game. Defensively, you got to be more active. You've got to be assertive. Weber with the travel.
Turnovers early in the third, plaguing both clubs now. And with that, Memphis with a chance to chip away some more at the lead, which was as big as 16 in the second quarter.
Now, the player that's given them the most trouble out of the starting unit is Paul Gasol, and he's continuing to cause problems. That was a nice pass and a better defensive save by Stojakovic. They had one right at the rim.
7 to shoot as Williams looks to bring it in. Wright finds Wells. Jason Williams hits a 3, and that's a big hit. Jason Williams was 2 for 10 from the field prior to that basket that brings Memphis to within 6. Miller fouled by Lorenzen Wright. Unhappy with the call, he spins away from it and gets a stern look from Dick Bavetta, but he did not get the David Stern look.
Oh. You are very close to Vegas, my friend.
Right,
you want your own opportunity to stand up. Williams started out really aggressive and just has not been able to make some of the shots he's had available. Weber with the miss.
Rebounded by Gasol. Biggest trip of the night for Memphis. A chance to cut it to 4. Jason Williams against Bibby. Battier. And it's a 4-point game as Stromile Swift delivers. 14 for Swift.
If you're a Kings fan, that was a bad trade-off. Lorenzen Wright was not causing problems. Christie all the way to the rim.
Ran into traffic and picked up a foul on the way in. But Bonzi Wells called for the foul.
Stromile Swift was one of their leading scorers at the break, and he's very good at this right here. This 15-foot jump shot, wide open, knocks it down. But out of that play, good ball movement, good recognition of who was open, and they finished the play. Christie gets the first.
13 points for Christie tonight. With each point he scores the rest of the way, a new season high. Christie hasn't missed from the foul line. 6 in a row. Back to a 6-point lead for the Kings. Williams. Swift on a 3 attempt. Stromile Swift connecting. Excuse me, Bonzi Wells on a 3 ball. Bonzi's got 6 points in the game.
I know headbands can be confusing.
Headbands can be confusing.
Trying to find the angle for Miller. If he gets it, he had a lead to the bucket. Didn't get that one.
Miller does work his way to the rim, and the rebound tipped off to Battier.
Miller has great difficulty in scoring over the opposing center. That pass out of here. Stromile Swift was dead at the bucket.
That was a rising fastball. So the Memphis Grizzlies, as close as they've been since they went down 12 early and then 16 later on. Deja Stojakovic. Cleared by Gasol. Battier. Underneath to Swift and a foul on Weber. C. Webb has his fourth.
Weber has 4. He's not happy, but the trade-off is Swift is making the Kings pay, and they should have left Lorenzen right in the game this year. They said, Coach, don't call refs, don't call that foul.
Swift, a good free throw shooter this year, 81%, has made all 3 tonight. Look at the foul trouble we've got in this game. Wright with 5 for Memphis. Weber with 4 for Sacramento.
Well, you would say that Weber represents the biggest problem for the Kings. They need to have him out on the floor, and with Wright not playing well and Swift playing well, Memphis is in better shape.
As the Grizzlies are within 1. Weber against Gasol. And Pau Gasol the rebound. The Grizzlies look for the lead. Williams for 3. Pau Gasol with a follow. And on the rebound, it's out of bounds to Memphis.
They have not rebounded the ball well this year, and they have been struggling to keep the Memphis Grizzlies from getting second opportunities. And Gasol has 14 points, 14 rebounds, so he's doubled up tonight.
But Sacramento still nurses the 1-point lead. Weber, a touch from Stojakovic, back to Weber. And finally, C. Webb stayed with it and got it in.
But they had a lot of that kind of passing and cutting early in the ball game. They haven't had much of it since the beginning of the second quarter. The result is they've had trouble scoring. Jason Williams.
Nice reverse move by Jay Will. Back to a 1-point game. Nearing the 6-minute mark for the third. Bibby, Miller, Christie on a 3. Weber the offensive rebound. Knocked loose, but a reach-in foul called. Reach-in foul on Stromile Swift. And a timeout taken. We got a ball game.
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast. Brought to you by Jeep. Trail rated capability. Don't go off-road without it. And Sony's family of cyber shot cameras. Sony, like no other.
Here with the Taco Bell updates. Plenty of good basketball action, I'm sure. But this was the disgrace. Ron Artest sitting out, a scuffle on the floor. Fan throws beer at him. He goes into the stands, and then everyone joins in. Blame this one on the fans, although they weren't the only ones involved. Jim Gray.
In terms of the injuries tonight, there were a number of bumps and bruises. Perhaps the guy who was hurt the most and was the most stunned, Tommy Nunez Jr., one of the officials, and they did a terrific job. Tommy Nunez, as he was leaving the court, here you see a bottle come in right there. It smacks him in the right side of his head. As we roll it back, there it is once again. He has a big welt over his head. He's been attended to by the people here at the Palace. He's feeling okay, bit of a headache, shaken up, and he's going to have a nice welt. And Tommy Nunez Jr. will board on his plane and move on to his next assignment. But the officials and everybody just trying to take cover as they left the court.
Before the game, the Kings players were watching that fight taking place in Detroit. And that was from the pregame tonight. Bibby and Bobby Jackson looking on. Chris Webber, meanwhile, has missed a free throw.
There have been incidences where players have gone in the stands, but they have never been a situation like that where the team in mass has gone in the stands and they have really scuffled with the fans, and it's an ugly situation all the way around. Webber gets 1 of 2.
So it's back to a 2-point lead, but Memphis has had a great run here. They've scored 15 of the last 20 to get back in this game. 5:39 left in the third. Mike Miller trying to slip through, and he sets up his teammate Stromile Swift. Swift has equaled his season high with 18 as Memphis pulls even.
And since Swift has come in the ball game, the Memphis Grizzlies are outscoring the Kings 17-8.
That's 16 points for Chris Webber. 7 in the third.
So Swift has been the thorn in the side of the Kings, and they're going to have to figure out a way to keep him away from the basketball and off the glass.
Pau Gasol finding Williams. Back to Gasol, who got it away over Brad Miller. Webber the rebound.
And Webber has always had great hands. You can see that he doesn't get off the floor like he used to, but if he can touch it.
Stromile Swift has picked up the foul. That will put Miller on the line. That's 4 fouls on Stromile Swift.
And there's a player that Memphis can't afford to lose right now. Swift is playing a game ball presentation tonight, and you'll make that after the ball game is over to him.
Brad Miller has made both free throws, scored just 4 points in the first half. NBA TV Saturday tomorrow. The Magic and Pacers coverage begins at 8 o'clock Eastern. ESPN Wednesday, Pistons and Cavaliers coverage starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. TNT Thursday, Thanksgiving night, a doubleheader. The Timberwolves and the Pacers, then the Nets and the Clippers, and the coverage starts at 8 o'clock Eastern. Back to a 4-point lead for the Kings. Gasol. And a foul call in the post. It's on Bibby.
Second team, so they'll side out of bounds. But what Memphis got away from, which was creating a lot of problems for them, was holding the ball, going one-on-one. They've done a better job of passing, ball movement, player movement to get some scores, to get back in the game, and it's a 4-point lead for the Kings.
Watson gives it up to Miller. His 3 right down the pipe. Mike Miller connecting his second 3-pointer tonight.
And Miller had 3 fouls. He's not been able to play a lot, and everything he's done has been right at the offensive end. He is 3 for 3.
That's Bibby on the miss, and Gasol on the rebound. Pau Gasol with his 15th rebound. Earl Watson gets the corner turn, but standing out of bounds when he caught the ball on the left sideline.
Gasol is going out of the ball game. I'm sure it's not going to be a big breather with the numbers that he has posted so far, season high in rebounding, but he has been gobbling up rebounds on both ends, and Hubie's going to need that to finish his game.
Sacramento nursing the 1-point lead. Bibby finds Webber, and on the rebound, Memphis coming back with a chance to reclaim the lead. Watson does. Watson scores to put the Grizzlies up. That's their first lead tonight. And it comes at the 3.5-minute mark in the third.
And Watson is another player who is yet to miss a shot. Webber coming to the rim.
Puts Sacramento back on top. The action picking up now in the late stages of the third. Watson at the point for the Grizzlies. Miller around the pick by Cardinal. Leaves Cardinal wide open. Webber rebounds his missed 3.
One thing that Memphis has done is take away that early break that the Kings were getting early in the first quarter. You don't see them running out, getting right to the rim, being wide open, and they have really covered Stojakovic. He's trying to work to get back in it offensively.
And he takes the shot over Miller, with it's rebounded by Swift. 77-76. Sacramento at the 2.5-minute mark for the third. Underneath is Swift. Somehow controlled it and got the shot down over Miller. Stromile Swift has 20. His career high is 21.
Eight in the quarter, so he's going to go by that unless he fouls out of this ball game.
And he's 8 out of 10 from the field. That ball was deflected by Memphis, so 7 to shoot for Sacramento. Bibby floats it in. Mike Bibby with 14.
You know, they have this play in the NBA where the center shows. Well, he showed, but he didn't stop the ball, and Stromile Swift let Bibby walk right down the lane to put the Kings back up by 1.
Stro didn't want that 5th one.
God, he's feeling pretty good about this game.
Mike Miller finds Watson. Shot clock down to 5. Tough shot for Miller. Right there.
What do you say?
Mike Miller with his 3rd three-pointer. And Memphis now with a 2-point lead.
The only thing that's stopping Miller are fouls. He has made every shot he's taken this evening.
Stojakovic. Good job of defending by Dante Jones. Miller attacking. Yep, and a foul. Mike Miller with the basket, and the Memphis Grizzlies, they are alive. They are bouncing across the court to their huddle. Mike Miller with a 3-ball. Mike Miller with a chance at a 3-point play. And their bench really into it. Remember, they were down 16 in the second quarter. Timeout at Arco. Memphis on top.
When you want to find her just the perfect gift, it helps to know the people who know diamonds. The Diamond Right-Hand Ring. Just $299.99. Zales, the diamond store.
Own the 3rd season of Smallville on DVD.
Hello, Clark. I'm from Krypton.
Clark's world is shattered
I'll never be who you want me to be.
by the world he left behind. Get action-packed extras by
Continue to follow what happened tonight at the Palace at Auburn Hills between the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, and the Pistons fans. A brawl that was provoked by those very fans. Larry Brown, head coach of Detroit, assesses the damage.
Just never seen anything like that. I didn't know what to do myself personally. All I'm saying, look at the foul and see if with 15-point lead with 49 seconds to go, if you justify that. I'm just embarrassed for our league, and I'm disappointed in, being part of this and having young people see that.
Well, this obviously was one night and one incident when no one was right. The players weren't right, and the fans definitely weren't right.
It's one of those situations where you take a rivalry and you boil it up to the point where any incident like that, foul at the end of the game, then becomes a volcano. It erupts, and everybody is wrong, and it's an unfortunate thing. And we hope that everybody learns from it.
And stay with us here at ESPN after tonight's NBA action in Sacramento on SportsCenter, as they will have more detailed coverage. Memphis with a 4-point lead after trailing by 16.
How do you like that? Miller's making all of those threes, and then they put him on the free throw line, and they can't make it.
Can't make the free throws. Bobby Jackson to Weber, who right now has the hot hand for Sacramento. Weber leaves it for Bibby. Tough shot by Bibby.
The Kings have taken some very difficult shots here in the third quarter as Swift hammers it home.
And he's got a new career high, 22 points for Stromile Swift. Stromile Swift has spearheaded this potent Memphis bench.
10 and a quarter for Swift.
Swift guarding Weber. 10 to shoot. Bobby Jackson with a 3. And a loose ball foul on Songaila. He went over the back of Brian Cardinal.
So everything that the Kings have done over the last 2 minutes has gone against them, and they have made them pay, and will walk to the free throw line with Cardinal. Songaila coming over the top, and getting caught. Adelman knows his team is not a good rebounding team, but in order to be a better rebounding team, you've got to move the ball. You got to move people where you have a chance to get inside the defense. If you take one shot, one dribble in a shot, you got no chance of being able to get a second opportunity, and Memphis has made them pay for that.
Brian Cardinal, good free throw shooter this year, 86%. Drops both. He's got 4 points tonight, and Memphis continues to pull away. So we've had a 24-point swing in this game. Shot clock at 14, a little better than 2 difference.
Well, what the Kings and Bibby want to do is end on a positive note for a disastrous quarter. They want to be able to get a score here and then get themselves ready for the fourth.
With 2 to shoot, 1 to shoot, it's a shot clock violation. Let's see how much time they put up on the clock. 2.7.
Rarely do you hear them, but a chorus of boos ringing down from Arco here. They're not happy with their team's play here in the third quarter, and Rick Adelman trying to show some patience, knowing that this game is a long way from done, even though his team is down 8.
Earl Watson gets it away. Whoa! Earl Watson almost dropped it from midcourt. The Memphis Grizzlies have swiftly come back in this game.
You did it again.
Stromile Swift with a career-high game working.
One thing that Stromile Swift has done is play with authority. He has really been active and aggressive whenever he's had the ball, and the Kings are the victim.
Like a GTS, just flying by, moving through traffic, and I just jumped in. It's impulse, you know, like cat and mouse. You see it, you just chase after it.
When you're on the road and you get that feeling, if someone comes up behind you, if someone smokes you, you know you're going to go after it. That's the whole cat and mouse thing. It's just like nature. It's survival of the fittest. You're either the hunter or the hunted.
Rated E for everyone.
EA Games.
Challenge.
Your life, now with instant replay. Shared instantly. Video phones from Nokia.
Thanks for sharing.
Spider-Man 2 on DVD. Spider-Man 2. Get it on video and DVD.
Carmelo, how's it feel not to be a rookie anymore?
It feels great. I got my feet.
25 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 5. And then he's got to deal with this.
Carmelo, how many rows do you have in your hair tonight?
That's what I'm talking about. The guy's nice.
Back here in Arco, the Memphis Grizzlies have come from 16 down to lead by 8. They outscore Sacramento 34-17 in the third, and the game track snapper.
What the game track tells us is that these guys are a team. If they play with all 10 players, and it has been the bench that has carried them to the front in this ball game, with Stromile Swift leading the way, a season-high 22 points. And it has been Chris Webber trying to hold things even. He's got 18 points, 9 rebounds. But when you shoot 29% in a quarter, chances of staying ahead of Swift and company are not good.
Especially when the other guys shoot 59%. So Sacramento opens in possession here in the fourth.
Well, let's see if the Kings can get back their ball movement, player movement, and start getting better quality shots. They took a lot of tough forced shots in that third quarter and ended up with nothing. 7 on the shot clock, and guess who's back in? Lorenzen Wright, so they better take advantage of him being out on the floor.
Weber tries to, and he does with that moving hook. 20 points for C. Webb. And now the Arco crowd, they were booing in the third. They're making some positive noise in the fourth. Earl Watson knocks out a 3.
Give me some of this. That's what Earl Watson said. He has only missed one shot, 5 of 6 and wide open.
12 points in the contest. Memphis with a 9-point lead. 8 out of 15 are the Grizzlies from 3-point range. Weber, he's about it right now for Sacramento.
Well, what you need when you're down is to have one player keep you close, and that's Weber's job right now until Stojakovic, Bibby, Christie can get back into this ball game.
Bonzi Wells. Bibby ends up with a loose ball. Bibby with 3 right down the pipe. Sacramento a quick start in the 4th. And Memphis playing through it.
Well, Hubie Brown stood up and told him, be patient. Don't let this crowd get to you. Don't rattle. You got 10 minutes before this one's over.
Cardinal with the left-hand finish. 6 points for him. We've played 2 minutes in the 4th. Peja. Nothing doing on the 3. Bonzi Wells way up for the rebound.
Well, Stojakovic has yet to score here in the second half, and they have really made it difficult for him to get good quality shots. 3 of 10. He's got to work harder to get open. They need him to strike a match. As Hubie Brown is telling his guys, we want the 3 play.
You'll be making a change as we look at Bibby's hit.
Well, Bibby knows there's a long way to go, and he's got a lot more offense in him. Daddy
Straight on 3. Now Gasol the rebound.
16, my friend.
Career night for him in that regard.
Where Bobby Jackson used to be very, very good was at the defensive end. It made it tough to handle his opponent.
Now Jackson at the other end.
But he is being handled by Earl Watson pretty easily tonight.
He is. That's Stojakovic going to the rim, and a foul puts him on the line.
The longer you play in the NBA, the better you understand where to go and what to do. Weber does not get the lift that he once got, but he's still got the long arms and tremendous hands. He gets a piece of that one on the block.
Asia finally scores in the second half. Weber goes out. Miller back in.
Now, the one thing that, you know, if you don't have the physical gifts that you once had, you can still survive in this game if you understand mentally how to play and how to use your strength versus your weaknesses. And we have seen Weber play a lot to his strength tonight and not relying on his ability to jump over some people.
Watson missing the 3, and Battier tried to save, but it's out of bounds to Sacramento. And a timeout here at Arco Arena with 8:55 left and a 4-point lead for the Grizz.
To prove Aspen Edge has more taste than Michelob Ultra, we asked beer drinkers for their thoughts. Okay, guys, take a small sip and...
John Saunders back in our studio in New York as we continue to cover the story of the night. The Indiana Pacers going into the stands of the Palace at Auburn Hills, provoked by fans throwing objects and beers first at Ron Artest. For more, our Jim Gray is there live on the scene now. Jim, do you have any update on what happened tonight?
Well, John, everybody has left except for those cleaning up the building and the police. They are investigating this very thoroughly now. In fact, they're in the television trucks right now reviewing the videotapes. They did allow the Pacers to leave the building and to get on their bus and to travel back to Indiana. They told us just moments ago, the deputy chief of police, that they will prosecute fans, players, coaches, anybody who they feel who was unlawful. And he also said he felt security was good here tonight. One person was transported to the hospital. It is not a serious injury. There were 6 or 7 other injuries. Tommy Nunez Jr., he had a big cut, gash over his head. He was hit by a bottle, and players were banged and bruised, but nobody too seriously. Mark Boyle, the play-by-play man for the Indiana Pacers, also received a scratch. It was just a very, very ugly scene. This investigation will continue. It will be turned over to a prosecutor, and the DA of Auburn Hills will make the decision here in the next few days. Let's go to Jim Durham now in Sacramento.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. And don't forget an update on that Indiana-Detroit brawl coming up on SportsCenter when we're finished here at Arco Arena. A 4-point lead for Memphis, 92-88.
Well, the Kings have to get their bench players to perform somewhat. Jackson's got to give them something. Sangaila, as Stojakovic finds a drive and will go back to the free throw line. But they have got to get some production to match what Memphis bench has thrown on them, which has been a heavy load. Miller, Watson, Swift have all contributed mightily, and that's why they're on top. But there's 8:37 to go in the game and plenty of time for the Kings to rescue control of the scoreboard.
Yeah,
Swift back in.
The Kings need to get something from their starting all-stars, Stojakovic and Brad Miller. They're a combined 4 for 19 from the field in this game. Peja has only scored from the free throw line in the second half.
Rare miss for him, but they have a chance. Bibby is on the bench along with Chris Webber. So if you're going to step up now in the next 3 minutes, they've got to come to the front.
Bonzi Wells against Christie. Oh, man, a pretty move by Bonzi Wells.
That's Bonzi Wells at his best. He is a fullback at the driving position. Whenever he gets that ball, he is just going to lower that shoulder and come in. Sangaila pushes off.
And Sangaila, with that foul, has picked up his 5th. 8-10 for the 4th quarter. Memphis the ball, leading by 5. Earl Watson. Bobby Jackson guarding him. Here's Stromile Swift. Swift beats Miller. Sangaila came over to recover, and the foul is on Brad Miller. 2 fouls on Miller.
That drive tells you that the feet are not moving. Miller is having the same problem that Bobby Jackson has had. He's not moving his feet, and he's not reacting. There's not this much room for him to get by, and he took one big giant step, and he was by and misses the free throw.
That's the first miss for Swift tonight from the line. He had made his first 4. Swift tries it again. 23 points for Stromile.
8 away from tying his career high, so he has had a tremendous impact on this game, and we may not see Lorenzen Wright again tonight.
Christie finds Stojakovic. Miller underneath. Brad Miller with only his 2nd field goal. That's 8 points scored, but it keeps the Kings within 4.
The team that stays within themselves is the team that's going to prevail in this game, and that means you got to continue to do the things that got you the lead. Gasol trying to work one-on-one.
Watson tries out a 3. Tip dunk Stromile Swift. Excuse me. Tip dunk Bonzi Wells. Bonzi Wells way up for it. He's got 6 points in the game. It's a 6-point lead as Wells with that jam now has hit double figures. 10 points for Bonzi Wells. (97-91) Memphis.
But the story of this ball game is the play of the bench, and all of the players react to the dunk of Bonzi Wells to say, we're in control.
Tonight on SportsCenter, the most shocking
for just $19.95. DirecTV HD. Leading the HD revolution with the launches of NBC HD and Bravo HD. Order now and get 6 months free. DirecTV HD. This is the picture.
Now on pay-per-view, some girls are nice.
Regina seems sweet.
Some girls are naughty, and some are downright mean.
You like Aaron Samuels. I could talk to him for you if you want.
Mean Girls, rated PG-13. Order it now on pay-per-view.
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast Brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, make every mile count.
John Saunders back here in New York, still running down the story about the Indiana Pacers going into the stands at the Palace at Auburn Hills, clearly provoked by the fans and Rick Carlisle standing by his team.
Well, I've been around 20 years, and I've never seen or been involved in anything quite like this. Our guys tried to show a lot of restraint, and then, you know, there were things being thrown at them. There were people that were coming out, and I understand we're attacking our players from the stands. So there were a lot of things going on. I felt like I was fighting for my life out there.
Here in Sacramento, when we're finished up, remember, SportsCenter will have it in more detail. That brawl in Detroit involving the Indiana Pacers, the Pistons, and the fans at Auburn Hills. Look at these Grizzlies tonight. 57 points off the bench.
But you look at how even things are for the Memphis Grizzlies and the reason that they've been able to get the contribution. You see the minutes. Everybody's been involved in the game, and everybody has had some impact on the game for Hubie Brown. His team started slowly, but thanks to Swift, Miller, and Watson, they were able to get them back in the game, and now they're on top.
Bobby Jackson missing the three. Battier to the loose ball.
Jackson and the Kings have to get back to what they were doing so well early in the ball game. Ball movement, player movement, layup, not necessarily trying to win this game with the three-point shot.
Earl Watson collides with Songaila, no call. Shot clock at 3. Inside the Swift, but he didn't get it away in time. It's a shot clock violation.
You see the numbers for Swift and Watson. They have been very, very effective players, and the only thing that can help the Kings is that Hubie takes them out. And Jason Williams is going to the scorer's table now. Now, Watson is a little banged up. He's had calf problems, and his right calf is now giving him some concern, but he has not played like a guy that's struggling.
On the other side, Rick Adelman has Bibby and Weber back into the game. Here's the night that Stromile Swift has had.
Swift has been the guy that's been there to clean up and make sure that they've been able to get the easy score, stay in the ball game. So it has been a night when Swift was needed, and he has stepped to the front. Bibby.
Rebound deflected to Miller. 6-10 for the game. Jay Will finding Mike Miller. Pau Gasol. Stojakovic the rebound.
Well, the starters are on for the Kings, and let's see if they can do the job. Gasol still running, but not getting the calls. A foul at this end
on Miller. Mike Miller has his fourth. And that is the 4th team foul on the Grizzlies. The Kings with only one, with 5:51 remaining. Stojakovic to trigger. Bibby plays into Weber.
But now
by Miller.
They have become a jump shooting team, and that's all they're getting. They have gotten no fast breaks here in the second half. They're not getting to the rim, and they've got to take advantage of the fact that the next call against the Grizzlies puts them at the free throw line. Travel Gasol.
Yep. Memphis turns it over. Bench and rebounds for Memphis tonight. The Grizzlies with a 17 rebound edge.
Well, you know what the Kings are saying? All of those numbers will mean nothing if they can somehow find a way to win this game.
Yeah, they're only down 6 with 5:20 left. They're only down 4. Weber has 24 points tonight. And a timeout taken by Memphis. 5:16 for regulation.
Passing and cutting, that's one of the strengths of the King, and this time it's the big mitts of Weber with the save and a hammer to get them within 4.
In the 70s, He was the coolest guy alive. Now, he's
saying that it was justified for those players to go into those stands. He says there's no justification. Regardless, the fans were wrong, but the players should not exacerbate the situation.
But we're not saying that there's justification. What I'm trying to say is that you can definitely empathize with the reaction of someone who was involved in a very volatile and emotional situation, which is what occurred out on the floor. It's finally coming into a head in terms of the referees and the security getting control of it, and then you have the fans escalating the altercation. Joe Dumars, who's played this game at the highest level on very physical team, understands that sometimes, you know, when emotions that high, you oftentimes aren't in control, and you don't need someone provoking you to take it to another level.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I don't think that we were trying to justify. We're just saying it's understandable. All right, back to you. We'll have more on this later.
More on SportsCenter when we're finished here at Arco Arena. The pass sails out of bounds. Bonzi Wells threw it away, intended for Miller. And the Sacramento Kings, who have climbed back to within 4, have possession with over 5 minutes left. Shane Battier returning for the Grizzlies. No, he's not. He didn't get to the scorer's table in time. Dick Bavetta ushers him back over to the sideline.
Well, that will give Bonzi Wells a reprieve, because you hate to take a player out after he's made a mistake like that. Wells was in between a shot and a pass and ended up turning it over. 5 minutes to go as things tighten up down the stretch.
Brad Miller goes with a bounce pass into Weber and a foul underneath. Memphis is over the limit now. Weber gets to the free throw line. Pau Gasol called for the foul, his second.
You know, we talked about Weber, and he doesn't jump as well as he used to, but he knows how to use that big body. You can see him shielding, and Gasol had the hook and around. So now the penalty is in effect for the Kings, who are a very good free-throwing team. Do they take advantage of it?
Well, they're taking advantage of it so far. They're now within 3. Weber has 25 points tonight.
Weber has done his job. He's kept his team in the game, given them a chance to try to...
Stojakovic with the rebound, and now Sacramento with a chance at a 3 the hard way.
Well, the guy they got to bring into the game is Bibby as Weber comes in.
Weber with the jam, and we got us a 1-point game as the Kings have now made their comeback on Memphis.
Well, a comeback is not complete until you get the lead, and there have been many comebacks that have fell short, so let's see how Memphis responds.
Miller finding Gasol. Loose, Bibby the steal. The Kings come down looking for the lead. Weber sets up Christie. Sacramento has taken the lead. Timeout Memphis with 4:14 left. 7 straight points by the Kings.
When you have a player with the ability of Chris Weber, many good things can happen for you. One of them is he can still play above the rim, but he can also find the open man. And Doug Christie gives him the 1-point advantage as the house comes to their feet. In how they have been able to get control of the game, but you see the Kings are very good at this, and when they pass the ball and they cut to the rim, and you get one more look at what they do extremely well and haven't been doing in the second half. Weber on top now.
27 points, 10 rebounds for C. Webb. In fact, he has figured in all 7 of those points they've scored in a row. Pau Gasol draws the foul.
Turned an ankle.
Foul is on Brad Miller. 3 fouls on Miller.
Gasol trying to walk it off, but these are the kinds of shots that Gasol got against Seattle and could not finish when they had that big lead, and Seattle caught them, and down the stretch Gasol was right at the rim and didn't finish, and this time, in a little bit of pain, he will step to the line.
6 for 8 from the line tonight. Now Gasol will shoot another. Wednesday night, ESPN's coverage of the NBA continues. The defending NBA champion Detroit Pistons take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. NBA Wednesday on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Gasol splits them.
Tie game.
4 minutes left. He's going to blink, my friend. Doug Christie.
Well, the Kings have the advantage in terms of free throws. They got to continue to go to the line, and they continue to go through Weber. Weber with 9 in the quarter.
And 29 in the game, a new season high. And we're at Sports Center when we wrap it up here at Arco.
Where Memphis has got to respond, which, excuse me, they were doing so well in the third quarter, moving the ball, moving people, and getting easier scores. They get a foul against Brad Miller.
That's 4 fouls on him, 3 team fouls on Sacramento.
Brad Miller is one of those players that is always innocent. No matter what the foul is, no matter what the situation, I didn't do it.
Stojakovic, Pau Gasol makes the drive, and the hook won't go as the rebound is tapped out to Peja Stojakovic. Doug Christie left it loose. Gasol the steal. It's a 3 attempt by Miller. Rebound tipped out by Sacramento. Weber control.
Well, Gasol is on one leg, and they're trying to drive through him, but he's limping badly when he turned that ankle, so we'll find out whether he's able to, A, stay upright and finish the game. 2-man game, Weber and Christie.
8 on the shot clock. Weber has it. Weber against Gasol. Peja with 2 to shoot. Loose ball rebound to Christie. Peja with a 3. Stojakovic's first field goal of the second half, and what a big hit it is as the Kings go up by 5. Memphis has just 1 timeout left. This is a 12-1 run by Sacramento. Arco alive with 2:23 left.
Well, they're trying to go to Swift, and Jason Williams goes on his own.
And sticks the 3. The third 3-pointer for Williams tonight. Now it's Mike Bibby against Williams.
Well, Mike Bibby and Weber trying to go 2-man game.
Bibby thought he could draw the foul. Here come the Kings in transition. The Grizzlies as Battier attacked against Sacramento and was fouled on the way in.
Well, Stojakovic is not a player that the Kings give up on, and he missed in the right corner, came back to the left to give him the 5-point advantage, and Jason Williams said, you know what, we're not done. We are not done, my friend.
Battier on the line for the first time tonight, a 73% shooter.
That looked like a 50% shooter. That was a wide left.
He hopes he's a 50% shooter. That will bring Memphis within 1. Not this time. 1:55 left.
And the difference between winning and losing, as well as the Grizzlies have played, come down to the little things. Do you make the free throws? Do you avoid the penalty? Do you get the big shot when you need it? And 6 on the clock.
And the Grizzlies are 2 for 6 from the line in this quarter. Stojakovic missed it badly. Gasol the rebound.
And you don't have to have a 3 as Miller travels.
Yeah, you're only down by 2 with 1:28 left. Sacramento is taking a timeout. 1:28 for the game. And the Sacramento Kings leading UB Brown's Memphis Grizzlies by 2. Sacramento, the Kings with a 2-point lead. Each team with a full timeout. The Kings also have a 20.
We now have time, and I can reveal that at the 7:12 mark of the fourth quarter, and the Grizzlies had a 4-point advantage. Jim Durham, the historian that he is, said, I think the Kings are going to come back and win this. And look at what's happened over the last 5:48. One field goal for the Grizzlies.
Let's get this straight. Yes, that was at the 7:12 mark, but it was a 6-point lead for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think you got me mixed up with Marty Aronoff. Marty had the 4 points.
Well, the reason that the Kings called a timeout, they want better ball movement. They want a better play. They have the 2-point advantage. They don't want to be shooting threes against the clock. So let's see how quickly they get to Mr. Weber.
Quick it up. He's got it with 11 to shoot. Gasol is on him. C. Webb rocks back and fires. Miller the rebound.
But instead of going to the rim, they're pulling jump shots, and that gives Memphis life. Jason
Williams around the pick by Gasol. Miller feeds into Gasol. Nearly turned it over off the dribble. He did. Bibby dropped down to make the steal. Then Gasol takes the foul with 50 seconds left.
The emotions of Gasol and the pain that he's in got away from him that time. He was losing control of the dribble. He was looking for an excuse as to why he turned the ball over, and he's got the ball and he's starting to lose it right there, and he can't move to go get it. Bibby says, well,
I'll
you're that
take it.
slow? I'll take it. And then he reaches out and fouls, and Bibby saying, we can't have that. It's a 2-point game. We still have time, okay?
Bibby missing the free throw. Now Mike Bibby, especially since he has come to the Kings, has had a great reputation of being one of the clutch performers in the league.
Huge in closing opponents out, particularly with making free throws. Gets 1 of 2. He's got 4 in the fourth.
And he's got 18 points in the game. Pau Gasol, Jason Williams. Williams off penetration, and he's fouled by Bibby.
Bibby's crying no foul, but he got caught.
Don't forget SportsCenter after we're finished here in Sacramento with an update on the Indiana-Detroit brawl, which ended tonight with time left on the clock, and Indiana awarded a victory when the Pacers players and the Pistons got into a melee, and in fact it spilled over into the stands involving the fans and the Pacers players, and that's going to be something to try and figure out with suspensions and fines and what have you, and what players will be available for those two teams in the next few games. We got a 1-point game here as Jason Williams delivers from the foul line. Bibby guarded by Williams. The shot clock at 15, better than 12 difference.
Well, the Grizzlies know that if they defend, they'll have one more crack at stealing this game.
Weber with 6 to shoot, steps back and fires. A big shot for Chris Weber. Weber has 31, 13 in the fourth. He's also got 12 rebounds and 7 assists, and Hubie Brown takes his final timeout.
You know, Hubie Brown is not a guy that feels that he's in jeopardy with 16 seconds left in the ball game of having to go for a 3. He's going to try to get a quick hitting play and get a 2. But Chris Weber has given his team a little bit of breathing room and will challenge the coaching of Hubie Brown when we come back from this break.
Dun, 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 dun.
Standing by in the SportsCenter studio. SportsCenter coming your way right after the Kings and Grizzlies on ESPN.
And we effort at this second even every angle of what happened between Indiana and Detroit, and we'll show you the ongoing police investigation and how it's happening from the ESPN truck. That's all coming up shortly. Jim, back to you.
All right, Steven, it's a 3-point lead for Sacramento. Chris Weber with a season-high 31.
Well,
13 in the fourth.
Weber gives you a lot more than a photogenic smile. As a basketball player, he has the ability to score inside. Really make big decisions for his team, and that was the biggest one, put them on top. And then this one to give them a 3-point advantage. Chris Webber finishing down the stretch.
Well, let's see how Memphis plays it. They're down 3, 16.1 left.
They want a quick hitting play. They want a play that takes maybe 2 or 3 seconds to complete, get a bucket, possibly a foul, and tie it up that way. They do not want to have to take a 3 and see the Kings rebound the ball and run the clock out.
Now Gasol gives it up to Miller. He's looking for 3. Miller's lead-in 3. And the rebound comes off to Sacramento, and a foul on Memphis.
That is always the mistake you make when you go for the 3 and you have time. You got to try to keep the pressure on the opponent. Mike Miller, who has been sizzling hot, and when he's been out on the floor, hasn't missed much. Missed that one, and now they've got to stop the clock again. Memphis has no more timeouts. So Bobby Jackson steps to the line, and they've got to come up with a steal and a putback.
Free throws have not been a problem for Bobby Jackson, 87%. And he misses his first one tonight after hitting 4 in a row. Bobby Jackson, whose shooting woes have his field goal percentage less than 38%. He makes that one. He came in 2 for 23 from 3. But he has now given the Kings a 4-point lead. Williams ran into his own player. Loose ball to Gasol. He's got the jam with 4/10 of a second left. And time runs out as the Sacramento Kings rally back to win. Final score, Sacramento 107, Memphis 105. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center. For Steve Snapper Jones and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Jim Durham. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
The Oklahoma Sooners are